The Tableau Économique is an economic model first described by François Quesnay in 1758. Quesnay was a leading figure of the physiocrats series, a school of economic thought that emerged in France in the 18th century, preceding Adam Smith's classical economics. The Tableau Économique was a groundbreaking attempt to illustrate the circular flow of income and goods within an economy. It was one of the first explicit models to show the interdependence of different economic sectors and how wealth was created, circulated, and distributed. Key concepts and structure of the Tableau Économique. Quesnay divided society into three main classes. 1. The productive class. Farmers, agricultural laborers. This was considered the only truly productive class because, according to physiocratic doctrine, only agriculture could produce a net product or surplus. They extracted wealth from nature. 2. The proprietary class. Landowners. This class owned the land and received rent from the productive class. They were considered sterile, in the sense that they did not directly produce wealth, but they were essential for circulating it by spending their rents on goods produced by both the productive and sterile classes. 3. The sterile class. Artisans, merchants, manufacturers. This class consisted of all those engaged in non-agricultural activities. They transformed raw materials into finished goods, but did not, in Quesnay's view, create new wealth or a net product. They merely altered the form of existing wealth, and their income was derived from the spending of the other two classes. The circular flow illustrated in the tableau. The Tableau Économique depicted a complex zigzag flow of money and goods between these three classes over a year. Farmers, productive class, produce agricultural output, food, raw materials. A portion sustains themselves and covers their production costs. The surplus is the net product. They pay rent to the landowners, proprietary class. Landowners spend their rent on agricultural products from the productive class for consumption. Manufactured goods from the sterile class. Artisans, merchants, sterile class, use the money they receive from landowners to buy raw materials and food from the productive class. Farmers use the money they receive from the sterile class for raw materials/food and from the landowners for food to sustain themselves and reinvest in agriculture for the next production cycle. Significance and contributions. Despite its limitations, most notably its singular focus on agriculture as the only source of wealth, a concept later refuted by Adam Smith and others, the Tableau Économique was profoundly influential for several reasons. First, economic model. It was arguably the first systematic attempt to model the economy as an interconnected system, demonstrating the concept of a circular flow of income and expenditure. Concept of economic equilibrium. Quesnay implicitly developed the idea of economic equilibrium, showing how the economy could sustain itself through these flows. Emphasis on interdependence. It highlighted the interdependence of different sectors and classes, suggesting that a disruption in one part of the economy could have ripple effects throughout the system. Influence on later economists. The Tableau Économique significantly influenced later economists, including Adam Smith, who was a contemporary and critic of the physiocrats, and even Karl Marx, who adapted the idea of circular flow in his analysis of capitalist reproduction. Foundation for macroeconomics. It laid some conceptual groundwork for later macroeconomic concepts like national income accounting and the input-output analysis developed much later in the 20th century. In summary, the Tableau Économique was a pioneering intellectual effort to understand the mechanics of wealth creation and distribution, making it a crucial milestone in the history of economic thought, even if its central tenet about agriculture's unique productivity was ultimately superseded.